Welcome to Chatting with You. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Chatting with You. I'm Giselle Urbina.
And I'm Maria Munoz.
And today we are going to talk about mental health. As you probably know, mental health is something that affects millions and millions of people in the United States as well as in the entire world. And this year, with the pandemic, with the elections, with everything going on, more people are affected than usual. So I wanted to go ahead and share with you some information from the Mental Health America organization about mental illness in the United States. And we are in Georgia, and they went ahead and did a statistic about which states have a lower prevalence of mental illness and which ones have higher rates. And they started with the lower one. The lowest state is Hawaii. And I think Maria and I can agree that that makes sense. But crazy enough, Georgia is ranked 43. So we are one of the worst states for adults. This data is for adults. It doesn't include youth. So we are one of the worst states. That means that there's higher cases of mental illnesses and limited or less access to care for these situations. So it's very concerning, and we feel that it's a good topic to talk about today. Both Maria and I have been through, or we could basically be part of those statistics too, because we both, have gone through mental issues ourselves. And today we wanted to share our personal story with you to see if, it will be helpful to you. So, Maria, if you want to go ahead and start with your story.
Yeah, so my story started after I had my daughter. I'm one of the 1 in 9 women that unfortunately had postpartum depression and anxiety, and then also what's called postpartum OCD that I didn't even know existed until after seeking care. So basically, what postpartum OCD is just random, what they're called intrusive thoughts. If you don't know what intrusive thoughts are just like unwanted thoughts of just stuff that you don't want to be thinking about. In my case, it was more harm towards my baby. I would be scared of every little thing. Like I couldn't walk down the stairs with her because I would be scared I would drop her, or I would be scared of her drowning in the bathtub when I was bathing her. So it got to the point where I did not want to be alone with her whatsoever. And then the postpartum depression hit me, I think, like maybe a few days after getting from the hospital. It just started with my anxiety. If you have anxiety, you kind of know it's just that feeling of always being worried and just your body always being tense. So it caused me to not be able to sleep. So I think I went almost a week without being able to sleep, maybe more than 2 hours a night. And that's what I feel affected what brought up the postpartum depression, just the lack of sleep, just not having control of my body. So the postpartum depression hit me hard. If you've ever suffered from depression, I can tell you it's the worst feeling ever. I don't think a lot of people don't understand it, and a lot of people think it's just a feeling that you choose, or it's something just sadness. But the level of sadness and just despair and loneliness that you feel when you're depressed, it's unbearable. I feel like it did affect me a lot with bonding with my daughter. The first maybe month or so, it was really hard because I really honestly didn't want anything to do with my daughter. It sounds horrible and I feel so bad of saying it, but I didn't. Like I did not want to be a mother. I feel like I kind of left the responsibility up to my husband. He would take care of her. I was just kind of like, I wasn't functioning. I didn't want to get out of bed. I would cry. As soon as I opened my eyes in the morning, I would start crying because I did not want to be awake. Unfortunately, I never had suicidal thoughts, but I just did not want to be alive. I thankfully my family had my back the whole time. They didn't know much about postpartum depression. Everything was so new to all of us. But I know my mom did reach out to a couple of her friends that have gone through it before. And I have family that has experienced depression in the past that we reached out to because we didn't know what to do. Just like we're number 43, I unfortunately I experienced the lack of care that Georgia has. I have my insurance. It was very hard getting an appointment with the behavioral health department. I unfortunately had to tell them that I wanted to harm myself so they can actually pay attention. And even the first appointment that I had, they basically just told me, yeah, you have depression. You have to wait a couple of weeks to even see another doctor so they can give me medication. That was pretty much the only option. And then if I wanted therapy, I had to wait even longer until I could see somebody. So I went on what's called Postpartum International, no, I'm sorry, Postpartum Support International.com. It's basically an organization all over the world that has different chapters in each state. They'll give you a phone number and they'll connect you with somebody that's around your area that will refer you out to postpartum support groups, psychiatrists, anything basically that you might need. And I was able to go to a postpartum support group in Atlanta, and I was able to get into Emory. They have a women's health department that I did not know about. So fortunately, I was able to see a doctor there really fast. And after that, I continued care with them, and then they switched me over back to my insurance. It was very expensive. I know when you don't have insurance, it's even harder because, I mean, one appointment it could even be thousands of dollars plus medication, plus having to go to therapy. I can't imagine not being able to afford that kind of care, and I know unfortunately a lot of people don't. So I am on still on antidepressants on what's called Zoloft. I'm hopefully going to be off of them really soon, but as much as I didn't want to take them because there's so much, I guess, judgment when it comes to taking antidepressants, but it helped me. It took me from pretty much being a zombie, not wanting to live, not wanting to be a mother, not wanting to do anything at all with my life to pretty much being myself again. So that's pretty much my story.
So, first of all, your story is impressive, right? How you went from being in a really deep depression to coming out of it on the other side, and look at you now thriving and doing all great things.
Yeah.
How important was your family,
Hmm.
the support that you received from others during this time?
Yeah. Well, I think the support, my support group, I guess you can say, was pretty much the main reason why I was able to get out of my depression. My husband, especially, he took over the care, like I said, of my daughter. There was nights where he would let me sleep, and he would get up and take care of my daughter, feed her, change her, whatever she needed. And he missed a lot of work to be with me. Like the conversations that we had, I think it was more so of his fear of what could happen. I get, I was just, he just saw that I was in a very bad place. I know I spent multiple nights just crying to him, just letting him know that I wasn't okay. And the good thing is that we have that communication where I felt comfortable with him to let him know what's going through my head. Because to me, I was going crazy. To me, I was a horrible mother. I was just somebody that wasn't just meant to have, that was not meant to have a child. That's what I was thinking to myself because I didn't understand what was going on. I just thought that I was going to be like those moms on the news that does something to her child because that's what I thought was going to happen because I just couldn't control my emotions. I couldn't control my mind. I didn't know what was going on. So the fact that we just had that open communication and that trust, that I know he wasn't going to leave me or call the police on me for telling him what I was telling him, I feel that it was very important. And then also with my family, like my mother and my sister, my mom took some time off work. She helped take care of my daughter. She cooked for me. She was with me 24/7 because it was the same thing. I guess they were just scared to leave me alone. They've never seen me that way. I don't think I've ever been in that kind of just sadness. I lost a lot of weight. that I, you know, put on back, but I lost a little bit of weight.
Mhm.
Um, I wasn't eating. I had to force myself to eat. I did not want to change. I didn't want to do my makeup. I didn't want to do my hair, and that's not normal of me. I know they could tell that something was seriously wrong. So just having them there all the time, and there wasn't any judgment, which I'm so thankful for, because I feel like when it comes to mental illness, people judge people that don't understand, or people that haven't been through it just think that it's just us, that it's a choice, or that we're just being dramatic, or that it's not a big deal. But there wasn't any judgment. I feel like that was the main thing for me, because I couldn't imagine dealing with what I was dealing, and then still having to deal with maybe harsh comments, or just bad attitudes towards me. I feel like it would have made such a big difference in my recovery if I didn't have them there.
And you are 100% right. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about judgment. I feel like the major part, in a part, it's crazy how people judge others because, like you said, they don't know what you're going through. And if you would have been judged, maybe your recovery wouldn't have been as good
Yeah,
as it actually was.
yeah,
And I feel like during these times of someone going through something so serious, judgment really plays a big part, if it's involved, whether that's from your family, from your friends, from social media,
yeah,
from, anywhere.
yeah.
How how lucky were you, right, to have the right people around you? But what would you say to those who are surrounded by people who are judging them during a
Mhm.
situation like this? Like, what would you tell them? Like, what could they do?
Yeah, I mean, if you are not fortunate enough to have that support there, all I can say is you just have to just do it for yourself. Do it for me. I had my daughter. You know, as my bond, we my our bond got affected, but I still knew that I loved this little baby. Like I knew it in the back of my mind, but it was just my emotions weren't there. So I feel like just find that one thing that just grounds you, to have that willpower, to have that to put in the hard work, because it's like you said, it's hard work. It's hard work getting through the hurdles. It's hard work getting out of that dark place. If you don't have that support, like I feel at the end of the day, you have to do it for yourself, because as bad as it gets, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. No matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter who's right by your side, there's always that light. So I feel like if you don't have that person or people to help you, at the end of the day, you just have to do it for yourself.
That's the best way to describe it. And you're absolutely right. I
Hmm.
feel like and if you're not surrounded by people who love you and support you and try to find a solution rather than being part of the problem,
Hmm.
then they cannot be around you.
Yeah.
Um, I just think about it, mental illness. I want to be part, if I'm going through it or if I'm helping someone, I want to be part of the solution rather
Hmm.
than being part of the
The
problem and
problem.
adding
Yeah.
more salt to the wound and,
Hmm.
like making it worse. I don't want to do that. And it's incredible because what you describe, that you went through, is so true. Like I went through a similar situation, and the pain that you feel,
Hmm.
it's like the best way I can describe it, is that you have like a hole in your
Yeah.
heart, like a
Yeah.
physical, like super huge hole in your heart. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, like to me, that's how it felt, like
It's just like emptiness is what I can
emptiness,
describe it. Yeah.
complete emptiness, super sad.
Hmm.
Nothing will make it better. I felt that nobody really understood what I was going through. And I felt, even though I didn't really have many people judging around me, I
Hmm.
still felt that those that were trying to be nice, they were still judging in the back of their heads, because I
Hmm.
felt like a failure. I felt bad. And
Yeah.
in my case, I had two episodes. One was in my early 20s, and the other one was after my second pregnancy.
Mhm.
So in the early 20s was a family situation
Mhm.
that made me have this depression. And I had to go and get medicine as well. I had to go to a doctor and they gave me medicine that helped a lot.
Mhm.
What did not help was people around me writing me things through social media, like private messages saying how bad I was doing and, how terrible what I did to, X or Y person. Like,
Right.
they didn't know anything about the situation. They were just judging
Mhm.
and being mean.
Mhm.
That didn't help. That wasn't part of the solution. That was just making it worse.
Yeah.
Um, and then the second time it happened, it was, like I said, after my second baby. It was just, I didn't feel good. I didn't want to get dressed either. I didn't want, like, I just didn't feel myself.
Mhm.
And I would take a bath and I would just cry there for at
Mhm.
least 30 to 45 minutes. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want anyone to see me crying because I had another daughter that, she was like 3 years old and I didn't want her to see me in that,
Mhm.
you know, situation. Um, so I will hide it. I will hide it. I wouldn't tell anyone. And I suffered that whole thing by myself. Um, and it was tough.
Yeah.
It was really, really tough. And at the end of the day, I was able to get through it because at the end of the day, I had the support system that I needed. Even though that in the back of my head, I still didn't feel 100% comfortable, which
Mhm.
now, if it happens again, I would feel comfortable. But back then, I didn't. Um, I still had them. So I was able to get through it. I had the, of course, support of my husband.
Mhm.
And we were able to make changes as a couple, as parents, to be able to get through it. And it
Yeah.
took months.
Yeah.
It took months. It wasn't a week. It wasn't a day.
Mhm.
It took months. And finally, I'm on the other side, just like you. And I feel like people can benefit from our stories and what we did to, if they're in the similar situation, they can also try to find the help that they
Mhm.
actually need to get through it. And we wanted to give out some information. Some of it we have used it personally. Some other information we haven't, but we've found really good resources and have really good reviews. So we wanted to share it with you in case you are in a situation where you need help and you don't know where to look.
Mhm.
So the first one I wanted to share with you is this website called betterhelp.com. That's BetterHelp.com. And they're basically a counseling service, but they do everything online. So now with the coronavirus situation, many people just don't want to go anywhere, especially talking to a psychologist
Yeah.
or a therapist is very it's a close contact, right? Like you're
Mhm.
in a room, in a small room with that person. And some people might not like it just due to the current situation that we're living. So try to find something online. You can still do a Zoom meeting with them and they can still help you out. And hopefully, you can get in the process of getting better.
Mhm.
The other thing we wanted to share with you is the suicide prevention hotline. And Maria, you have that number.
Yes. The number is going to be 1-800-273-8255.
Awesome. And then the last one you already shared,
Yes.
but if you can repeat it for those that didn't get a chance to copy or
Yeah.
hear it.
It's a website, but they also have different phone numbers for whatever area you live in. So the website is Postpartum Support International, and they also have a Facebook group. So they have millions of other women that are going through a lot of mental illnesses, and I think it was one of the things that did help me, just sharing, seeing other people share their story, and seeing that I wasn't alone and that I wasn't losing my mind. So you can go on the website, or you can also join their Facebook group, and you can reach out to. They do have medical professionals on the Facebook group, So you can also reach out to them if you have any questions regarding medication or any other kind of treatment.
That's amazing. I wish I would have known about that. I basically kind of went over everything myself. But maybe we, now that we have that information in the future, we know someone we can share that will be great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, if you live in Georgia, there's this nonprofit organization called Ser Familia, and they can also help you. Their phone number is 678-363-3079. Okay. So we really, really hope that this was really helpful for you. If you want more information, please reach out to your doctor. Or you can reach us. We're not
Yes.
doctors, but at least we can maybe, try to find some help through
Mm-hmm.
an organization or a website or something that can help you. But just know that you are not alone, that you are not crazy,
Yeah.
that it's basically just like you have a cold or you can have the flu, like a physical illness, you can also have a mental illness, and it's
Mm-hmm.
completely okay, but you need to take care of it because you are very important. And if you don't treat it, then it can be really, really bad for you. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for
Yes. Thank
listening.
you.
Thank you, Maria, for sharing your story.
Thank you for
Um,
sharing yours.
yes, you're very brave. It's not easy to
It's
share,
not.
but I feel like by sharing, we were able to help others, and that's what really matters.
Yes, I think it's I always try to talk to a lot of people. Maybe people don't want to hear it, but I talk to everyone about my experience because I wish somebody would have shared their experience when I was going through it. So like you said, just there's help out there. There's resources. I mean, we're here. Just send us a message. Um, just get the help you need because it gets bad. If you don't treat it, can get really bad that to the point where it's worth it. This life is worth living. So I feel like there's so many support, there's so many resources, so many reasons to be alive today. Right now it's been kind of crazy, but it's worth it.
Agree. Thank you very much, and thank you for listening to another episode of Chatting with You. See you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Bye.